Marcos on the line? We can't hear him. Okay, well, I wanted to get into the topic of criminal justice while they are queuing up Marcos. The topic of criminal justice obviously is very important to the African American community because we are disproportionately affected by over-incarceration. We're sentenced to prison sentences longer than any other ethnic group. And these are some of the things that Marcos is going to touch on that we're trying to change legislatively. You know, when you have a crime and you see those sentences 10 years to life, whites are getting closer to the 10 years, blacks are getting closer to the life. And there are just so many things that are going on in our community that is causing the over-incarceration of African Americans. You could be locked up for a ticket. You could be locked up for sitting in a hotel while black, barbecuing while black, talking on the phone while black, just so many different things. And it's caused the over-incarceration of African Americans in this country. And I would urge people to talk to their local elected officials because they have the power to change things. You know, we see how they have sanctuary cities and all of these different things for people who have broken certain laws, but they're getting sanctuary and things like that. Well, African Americans didn't have that luxury. You see how marijuana is legal now, but so many African Americans were locked up for simple drug possessions.
And people are now making millions off of it.
People are now making
think about that?
millions of dollars off of some. If it's okay for people to make money and use marijuana now, then it was okay 20 years ago when they were locking up masses of black people. So we need to have those people freed from prison, records expunged, and they need to be made whole. You know, and I call on the Democratic Party, especially because 90% of African Americans voted Democrat in this last election. That's 90%.
And we're looking for something this time. We're coming to collect, okay? Our vote is not going to be taken for granted anymore. We're going to put our money, put our vote where we're getting a benefit from. So, hey, as far as I'm concerned, the vote's up to grabs. Okay.
Well, the votes are up to grabs.
You know,
okay? So we have a lot of people that are trying to ask for your votes. And they need to have a plan. People call it a black agenda. And the thing is, black people have never asked to be treated superiorly in this country. We've always had to fight just to be treated equally in this country. So it means a lot when you actually take someone's freedom away from them. It means it's devastating to the family when you take someone's life away from them. So we're just going to, we're having technical difficulties getting Marcos on the line. So we're just going to go into, okay.
Yeah, so I'm up here in Carson City with my organization, Americans for Prosperity Nevada, and we are really tackling on criminal justice reform as one of our priorities. Really 5 major areas. That's prison reform, bail reform, civil asset forfeiture reform, indigent defendant reform, which has to deal with making sure everybody has a right to counsel, make sure everyone has a right to have representation in the courtroom, and refacilitating re-entry into society and making sure that we are doing everything we can to make sure we are putting people in the best track forward when they're released from prison. But this is something that, you know, my organization has been focusing on for a while now. We focus really on breaking down barriers and helping individuals advance in society. Last December, we were instrumental in helping the first major piece of criminal justice reform legislation pass in really decades. It was called the First Step Act. It made its way to Congress in late December, and the president signed it into law. But it was the first step really to really try to address these issues at the national level. And we're really trying to address these issues now at the state level. And there's a great bill in there to address a lot of these things. I recommend everyone looking at the Justice Reinvestment Initiative. It was presented by the Nevada Advisory Commission on the Administration of Justice. If these policies are signed into law, we're able to avert an 89% increase of the projected prison population by 2028. And, you know, we're going to try to divert all this money that's saved, about $640 million, and really drive them into effective policies and practices that will reduce recidivism. I think, you know, when I'm out there in the community, I operate in all communities, and it's sometimes it's misunderstood by a good portion of the population that a good portion, about 98% of everyone that's currently incarcerated, will one day be released back in society.
Right.
And we should try to help them and achieve so they can have successful lives and be productive members of society. And no one wants to be a criminal. I think that's one thing that sometimes is lost in this debate. Most crimes tend to be crimes of necessity.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And also, I think that once a person serves their time, they should be able to vote again. You know, I don't think that a person should be tagged for the rest of their life and lose their American right to vote for the rest of their lives, no matter what crime they committed. If they did their time, they need to be able to vote again. And so I'm really glad that you all, I'm really excited that we saw with the First Step Act that we saw bipartisan legislation, because the Democrats and the Republicans need to come together for us to see real criminal justice reform in this country. So I would urge all of the listeners, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, no matter who you caucus with, no matter who you vote for, urge the people that are running that you want to vote for, or the people that are in office, regardless of their party affiliation, to support these initiatives. Now, one of the things that you are working on also is the forfeiture aspect of things. Can you touch a little bit on that? Property forfeiture?
So civil asset forfeiture is a really weird system. It really flips the justice system how it's supposed to be on its head. So, you know, we have the 5th and 14th Amendment, basically, that say, you know, no one should be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process. What makes this system so messed up is that it makes the defendant have to prove that they are not guilty. And it just goes completely against all notion of what the justice system should be, of decades of centuries of legal tradition. So let's say a classic example, there was an individual out in Virginia, you know, he was using his parents' car to go down the street to sell drugs. He got caught and he got arrested for it. They actually went after his parents' car, his house, because they were saying, you know, you have to prove to us that you didn't buy this house, you didn't buy this car using drug money. They completely flips the whole justice system on its head. Because if you look at these court cases, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's all set up for the black community, too.
Yes, it is.
Well, we've got to get to the point where, I mean, and also poor people are targeted. So, I mean, you know, especially when it comes to tickets and stuff, people struggle to get their property, struggle to get their cars, and then for the slightest thing, it's taken from them, and then they're back to square one. Anyway, we would really love to bring you on for a further in-depth as we go on. Marcos, it was awesome talking to you. For those who want to get involved with you and your organization, how would they get in contact with you?
So definitely reach out. Our website is www.americansforprosperity.org. You can go down to the Nevada tab and reach out to us. We have petitions online relating to civil asset forfeiture and other things, criminal justice forward-rated, or like us on Facebook, Americans for Prosperity Nevada, or on Twitter at AFP Nevada. If you guys are ever down there,
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Marcos, and keep up the good fight. Thank you so much for all that you're doing to just make a dent in this very important issue that we all could be affected by any day. It can affect any of us at any time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you have a great day.
Thank you.